Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the After Action Report. We are very, very happy to have you with us here tonight. We are also happy to. Want to take a moment before we get started on tonight's topic to go ahead and apologize to my viewers who may have watched the Blood Bowl content. Not because, well, it was bad content, outside of the fact that I play badly. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. We'll go ahead and get everybody in on this because the guys were kind of laughing at me mentioning this when we got started with it. But yeah, I've been playing the orcs pretty stupid, and I've been taking some steps to learn to do that better. So, while I have no chance of winning this season, next season I may actually be able to contend as I practice and improve. So tonight we've got Nick with us. And hold on just a second here because I think I have you muted. All right, let's try that again. We got Nick with us.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
And we got Garrett with us.
What's up, Spuds?
Okay, and I am getting feedback from my mic now to, okay. My headset's been doing weird things, so I'm getting the feedback on the channel there, so just a second.
I'm doing fine. I hear you great.
Yeah, everything sounds good over here. Are we live?
Yeah, we are live, and I apologize. No, this was just more a matter of because my headset's having the problems. I put it on speaker, but when I put it on speaker, microphone's picking up on that, and it was going on the live broadcast, which you guys were saying. So we're just going to have to deal with the issues of I can't hear you all the time. So,
all right, noted.
I tell you what, if you guys want to go ahead and introduce the topic here, I'm going to try to get a set of earbuds that I can actually hear and not have this disconnect reconnect. Okay?
All right, I guess we'll take it away then.
All right.
All right, well, everybody, yeah, we're going to talk about some Malediction tonight. So Malediction is a new game from Loot Studios. Came out this year. It was Kickstarter last year, but it was officially launched. It is a miniatures card game. And so what separates this from any other like skirmish game or card game is that you construct your deck.
Nick, you're muted right now. Sorry, that's according to chat, so. I apologize for these technical difficulties. Okay. Can you say something, guys? Hold on a minute. Oh, wow. Test, test. All right, check, check.
I can hear you.
I can hear you now. Okay.
Huh?
All right. Now let's see what we've got going on as far as chat is concerned.
Sploder 123 is gonna let us know.
Yeah.
Sploder.
All right.
Can you hear us now?
Maybe.
All good. Okay.
All
right, we're locked in. Nick, start over from the top.
From the top. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 13th Fleet Disc Malediction podcast episode tonight. This is Nick. I forget. We did like a whole intro.
Just remember, we are not professionals, okay?
This is Nick.
We do not get paid for this.
Yeah, we're gonna be taking a break from Leviathans this week, and we're gonna talk about Malediction. It's a game we've been getting into. So Malediction is a miniatures card game set in a dark fantasy world full of magic and monsters. It's made by Loot Studios. It launched this year. And what is a miniatures card game?
Great question, Nick.
Yeah, it's going to be a hybrid game where you build a pre-constructed deck, like any other trading card game, competitive trading card game. But when you go to the table, you're actually going to be playing a tabletop skirmish game with your models and measurements and dice. And so your deck is actually going to kind of fuel how you can interact with the game. It's honestly, it's a ton of fun. It won me over pretty much immediately with the mechanics and everything, and just the speed of play. So each player is going to be commanding a seeker, which is going to be like your hero character, your hero unit, who's leading a war band into the Malediction in order to recover these powerful relics. Players will take turns back and forth activating different units. You do movements, measurements, attack with dice. All your standard war game.
Attack with one die, a D20.
One die. Yeah, everything's D20 based. Everything is D20, which makes it pretty fun. It's a very tight game. It's very well made.
There's no like the most, like you roll the dice and you just got to look for like 2 modifiers and then you're done.
Yeah, so the way the game plays is the first player, you're fighting over mastery points. That's like your victory points. First player at the end of any round, if one player has 40 or more mastery, the player with the highest mastery wins. And that's pretty much the game.
How do you get mastery, Nick?
you gain mastery from acquiring relics and from killing enemy units. And so we'll pull up. I think we have some graphics here. We'll talk about units in a minute. But when we cover units, we'll cover the cost and the points and everything like that. But right now, just you want to get to 40 points. Relics are 10 points each. But
I don't have a relic graphic. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all good. It's all good. Relics are just going to be powerful magic cards that you can equip to your characters as they get them, but you actually have to go onto the board and grab them from the husks of fallen warriors that, where the relics are hidden. So let's just start from the top with some basic components and overview. I think Garrett has some models for us, some miniatures. The game is...
This is painted by Joel, one of our locals. It's an FDM printed model on a 0.4 nozzle, which is it's pretty good for what it is. It's not resin printed. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. This entire game is 3D printed. And so if you want to get into the game, you buy a starter box. It comes with all the cards you need to play. It comes with a cardboard. So you have cardboard standees, which are a pretty good quality, honestly. Nothing feels cheap about the game. You have your cardboard standees, cardboard terrain cutouts, and all the components, measurement tools, and even a D20 that you need to play the game. But along with all the components, you receive a redemption file for the STL 3D prints. And so if you have a 3D printer, if you know someone with a 3D printer, you get into the game, and as whatever you buy, you also gain the files to print it yourself. And Garrett will have to explain the printing process. I'm not familiar with the printing, but he's got the models.
So easy. Listen, everybody, you just download it, and like the company, their modelers, like they made every model so that you can easily print it. And the best part is, if you have a resin printer, it's really, your stuff will turn out amazing. However, if you don't want to mess with that, and you just got like your Bamboo A1 or like a P1S or whatever, the files, when you download the units specifically, they have them set up on pre-supported. Like they have the generated supports for a resin file, and when you print that on an FDM printer, it prints amazing. And the supports come off incredibly easy compared to like tree supports, and they're really delicate, so they don't break your model when you're taking it apart and cleaning it up. That's a huge benefit.
Yeah, I gotta say, having done a lot of 3D resin printing myself, I recognize that sometimes those supports don't come off as clean as they need to.
Yeah, and the terrain is designed to also FDM print, and they've got it broken up in a way that makes printing off each of the pieces just a breeze. And then like it's just normal, like cutting certain tree supports off and a little bit of whittling, because some pieces have to be assembled like like this is like 6 different pieces put together, and you can get even more. Like we kind of slap chopped our stuff together really quickly for a demo day, but like some of the parts where it assembles, I don't know if you can see this in the video quality, but like there's a seam line here, but if you're really hobbyist kind of guy, you take your green stuff and fill that in and sand it down, and you'd never know that it was a seam. So oh my gosh, it's pretty good. But also if you don't want to mess with any of that crap, you can buy the models. However, you can't buy terrain. Yeah. So you'll have to buy terrain from somebody like Admiral Tater.
He'll ship it.
Yeah. Tell me more about this Admiral Tater.
Anyways, back to it.
Yeah. So Loot, they're a miniatures company first. This is their first game. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. They put a lot of effort into it. They got a lot of talent on their team.
I was gonna say, it's not the studio. It's the studio's first game, not the people making it.
Not the designers. Yeah, they've come from which we're not going to get into. We don't have to get into all of that, but
yeah,
trust us. We spoke with them. They're great. So The game. You've got your deck of cards. Let's say you bought a starter box. You've got your deck of cards. You've got a deck of relics. You've got the terrain cardboard cutouts. You've got your cardboard standees, your D20, your 12-inch measurement tool. All you need is somebody to play with. The game is really quick to set up. You have a 2.5 by 2.5, so 30-inch by 30-inch mat with 4 corners. Each corner is going to be a designated deployment zone. First thing you're going to do with your opponent is, well, you talk about what seeker you're bringing and just kind of introduce yourselves. You're going to roll D20. Player who rolls the highest is going to place their terrain first. Now, both players are bringing their own terrain that you get to pick with your deck. And so, without going into all the details on the terrain, I believe we have the Asterian Pathways up on screen. Chris?
Yep.
Yep, so that's an example terrain card. This terrain feature terrain is all universal. So you can gain the benefit, your opponent can gain the benefit. You place your terrain down, and whenever one of your units starts on that terrain feature, they gain that +2 boot. That's going to be your movement speed. They gain that bonus for their actions.
Now, here's an interesting question as far as terrain is concerned. Every game that I've played, both players have had different terrain, but is it possible for both players to come to the table with the same terrain?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you get the mirror match where everything, if both players have Asterian Pathways, the Garrett is holding there. If both players have that, you're just going to have duplicates of the terrain, and everybody's going to get speed boost.
Because we like moving fast.
Yes, it's. I think it's the most popular terrain. It's also the simplest to use, and it can't really get flipped on you like other terrain can. But so you place your terrain. Normal rules are just like you have 3 inches. You can't put terrain like up on each other. You can't put in deployment zones. Just kind of normal war game rules. But once all the terrains are down, you're going to take turns placing the husks. Now the husks are the terrain features that hold the relics. And so, starting with the player who did not place the first terrain, they are going to place a husk, and each player is going to place 2 total husks on the board. They have to be outside 10 inches, so you can't stack them up close to each other. But you're going to spread them out, generally kind of on one side that you plan on trying to be at. Your opponent's going to put theirs where they try to be at. So everybody has easy access to their husks. Once those are down, we're going to get into round 1. Both players are going to draw 7 cards from their deck. Now, your Seeker is not in your deck. Your Seeker also comes with a Legacy card, which I believe we have a Seeker and a Legacy. Right? We have a Sigrith, I think, showing.
Yeah, I actually, just got both of them showing now. Although these two do not go together. These are not...
These are examples of what the cards look like. So you can see Sigrith says Seeker in the middle of her card. We'll go over the stats and everything, what makes her a unit type. But she's going to be like a hero character. And then the Legacy we've got is the Ark of Lamentation. That Legacy belongs to a different Seeker named Laundriel. But Seekers are always paired with a specific Legacy. So when you bring a Seeker, you bring that same Legacy. Those cards are not in your deck. They sit out in front of you so that you can kind of always reference them.
For our Magic players, you can think of it like your commander if you're playing commander.
Exactly. Yeah. Even the same rule. If they die in battle, they actually go back to the Seeker zone instead of into your discard pile. So it's exactly the same as commander, except they don't cost more. And so you have your deck, shuffle it, draw 7 cards. Each player is now going to choose a card to bid. Let's go ahead and pull up a unit card there.
Okay, just say. Okay.
And you can bid units or spells.
Or anything in your hand.
Anything,
yep.
Any card.
So this unit card, are we good, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Conclave Scholar. This unit card, we're just go from the top down. That top left number in that bronze diamond is the Echo cost. Now, Echo is going to be your resource, similar to like your mana. It's just going to be the resource that you pay to summon your cards, play your spells, etc. At the start of the game, you have either 20 or 25 Echo, depending on who your Seeker is, and you choose to play your cards. spending that echo. Now, in the first initial bid, that cost in the corner is going to be your bid. So the more expensive, the more powerful of a card you're bidding, the more you're really dying to either go first or pick deployment zone. The player with the highest bid gets to choose either one of the 4 corners to be their deployment zone, or they get to choose the initiative token, which is really powerful. Because initiative allows you to control who deploys first and who gets to activate first. And so it really is important for controlling tempo of the game. But once both players have bid, you flip the cards, those cards are removed from the game, and we go into round 1. So you've got your deployment zone, your opponent has the deployment zone exactly the opposite of you. Now we get to the first round, you're going to deploy your cards. Starting with the player who has initiative, they get to choose if they want to deploy first or second. The player who deploys first deploys all of their units. So they're going to tally up all the cards they want to spend. So let's say you want to bring in the Concave Scholar, you're going to spend 4 echo on that. You want to bring in your Seeker, it's going to be 10 echo on that. If you have any spells or equipment in your hand, you need to consider what you want to save for. And so I think we have a spell card up.
Do you want a Swift or a channel?
Just bring up the channel. Be good.
Okay.
So spells tend to be cheaper, but they're one-time uses, whereas units, they exist until they die. So they tend to get a lot more mileage. Spell cards can be played during your turn, but you need to have echo in order to do it. So when you're deploying all your cards, if you spend everything to deploy everything, you just cannot play any spells. Equipment's a little different. They attach to characters. So once you play an equipment card, and once you deploy a unit, you can spend on an equipment card. It attaches it, gives it a flat benefit, flat bonus. Ooh. Let's say you deploy a couple units, your Seeker, you spend your echo, you roll your little dial down. Your opponent now has their turn. They spend their echo. They've got some stuff on the table. Everything's in your deployment zone, just 6 inches from your corner. Now you're going to take turns, starting with one player, then another, activating one unit at a time. So you want your Seeker to move, you activate them first. They have a little movement stat, which is going to be represented by the boot symbol, how many inches they can move. They have a range, represented by the little bow and arrow, how many inches they can reach with their range attack. Most units that are melee have 0, so they can only hit something that's nearby. When you activate a unit, the unit gets 2 action points. Movement costs 1 action. Attacking costs 1 action.
Now I want to stop just for a moment to ask a question here that may be on the minds of some of the folks that are watching. You say a unit that is nearby. So how do we define nearby for purposes of engagement?
Yeah, so whenever you see in the game, nearby always means 1 inch away.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with things like most games have like an engagement range or a melee range. We're in this game we're looking at nearby. So units that are melee are engaged with each other if they're nearby. Units that are contesting a relic or contesting a husk to gain a relic are nearby. Whenever you have spell cards or unit abilities that reference something nearby, it has to be within 1 inch.
So that is, you do not have to be in base contact, you just have to be within 1 inch.
Yep. Yeah, so when you activate a unit, you exhaust it, so you're just going to tap it sideways and show that it's been used. It can only do the 1 activation per turn. And so both players, usually on turn 1, you're not going to see any kind of combat. You might see some spells, but typically round 1 is just both players kind of stretching out, maybe getting a relic, and just kind of setting up for turn 2. So since we're in the action phase of round 1, let's go ahead and talk about spells. In this game, we have 2 types of spells, channel spells and swift spells.
Which they are both
Now,
on screen.
we got them both on screen. Good. So,
Yeah.
channel spells are a little bit more robust and a little more straightforward. Once during a unit's activation, you may play one channel spell. This means if you have 2 units on your side of the table, you can play one channel spell for the first guy, one channel spell for the second guy. You can only play them on your turn. You cannot play them on your opponent's turn. You can't play them in response to things. They're a little more rigid in the timing. Swift spells, however, can be played at any point. Now, most of the time, Swift spells will have a trigger. They'll have something in the text that'll tell you when you can play it or when is appropriate to play it. So, for example, we're looking at Back for More. This says, as an enemy is defeated, you may play a fallen from your discard pile and deploy it. What that means is that happens as an enemy is defeated. So it tells you the kind of the trigger window for it, but it doesn't have to be your turn. You're not limited on number of cards per activation. You just have to be able to pay the echo for it.
Now,
Whereas go ahead.
now on channel spells, the timing, you can play it as soon as you activate the unit, after you move. You don't have to do it after you've spent 2 action points. You can spend it at any time during your unit's activation.
Yeah, and so it gives a lot of tactical flexibility too, because, and we're not going to get into it tonight, but there's so many factors that can influence how you may want to play a channel spell. That it lets you set up, move beforehand, play it, then move again. Sometimes the cards affect your attack. They either give you a bonus, or maybe they help you do more damage. So you want to play the spell before you attack. Channel spells are great. They're the most common type of spell, I think. But yeah, so those are spells. You can only play them during the action phase. So I don't believe anything right now has any kind of trigger that is contradictory to that. Nothing in deployment phase, nothing in like refresh phase. It's all during the action phase.
The only difference is that I believe there are some swift spells that can actually be played during the opponent's activation, not just during yours.
Yeah.
I may be incorrect. I'd have to look, but
there's
lots of
several.
exceptions. There's exceptions for everything.
Yep.
But the cards always tell you. So.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what makes Malediction such an approachable game, is that the rules are very simple to pick up, because the cards themselves really dictate the flow of the game. You basically just have to learn the phases and the general standard actions, and then after that, it's just whatever the cards tell you to do. So we've gone through round 1. At the end of the round, what we would do is, once both players have activated all their units, we check for relics. So if you have a unit that's nearby a husk, and that husk is uncontested, so that means that your opponent doesn't have a unit nearby that same husk.
Or you have a unit engaged.
Yes, or they're engaging you. As long as that unit is not distracted by anything going on, they can reach into the husk and pull out a relic. Both players, whoever has the initiative, gets to determine who gets to pull the first relic. But basically, we have 4 relic cards face up. They are all very powerful magic items. So you get to pick one, your opponent gets to pick one. If you are getting 2 relics, you get to pick your second one. Your opponent gets to pick a second one. As they get picked, you replace them, so you get to see more of the deck. And you get to equip it to whoever's reaching into that husk and pulling out the relic. And you gain yourself 10 points. Yeah.
And the relic deck is a shared deck, correct?
Correct. Yeah, it's 15 cards. Shuffle it up. You draw the 4 after you do your husks in the beginning of the game. But you draw your 4 relic deck, and then whenever a relic is replaced, it's just from the top of the deck. And then whenever a relic is lost, it's returned to the bottom of the deck, face down. And relics can be lost because if your opponent kills your unit that's bearing a relic, you replace that unit with a husk, and you replace the relic back to the deck and lose your 10 points. Because your entire job here is to get the relics and get them out of the malediction. You don't get points for trying.
No participation trophies.
And the master points out of if you as a player capture 3 of these relics, you're gonna win the game. in most cases, because they're 10 points each, and you only need 40 to win. So,
Yep.
and then if you have the 10 points, your opponent doesn't have the 10 points.
Yeah.
It swings so quickly.
And one thing we do need to bring back up, looking at the unit card. So we brought up the Conclave Scholar as a kind of example unit here. That 4 cost, the Echo cost in the corner there, that is the number of mastery points you get when you defeat that unit. So your opponent puts Seeker down. Seekers are all worth 10 points. If you can kill their Seeker, that's 10 points right there. That's a relic. And so you can kill your opponent's Seeker, you get 2 relics. That puts you at 30. You can either get that 3rd relic or pick up 10 points somewhere else. And the game can be pretty swingy that way, but it makes it a real fun final turn when everybody's fighting over that last relic or just going for the 40.
Yeah, I know the game that we streamed a couple weeks ago, I think it was, we really contested that one relic.
Yeah, I really like how the game doesn't get bogged down. It ends. I mean, if you have a game go over an hour, that's, I think, usually unusual. Oh well, if you know what you're doing, like if you're experienced with the rules or whatever, like these games can be lickety split.
First games can take about 60 to 90 minutes, but once you've played a few games and you're playing like this, if you're playing the same deck after like the second or third game, I mean, 45 minutes to an hour, game's over. Which is another, I mean, a huge point for me for Malediction is that it's such a easy to set up game, easy to play. You know, you can show up to a game night with just a bag that has all your stuff in it, and you can play a whole game in an hour and pack up and go home.
Yeah. Because you can make it as portable as you want. You don't need any of the 3D models. Like, just pack some standees and some cardboard, and like this fits in a lunchbox.
Yep. Yeah, they even have cardboard for the terrain.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and so, you know, gameplay wise, like your deck is 30 cards. Typically we see about half and half, like units, half spells, and then maybe 2 or 3 attachments, like equipment in there. And
which so we haven't really discussed attachments much, so
yeah, we can pull it up. What's our attachment? The lantern?
Yes, Umberland Lantern.
Yeah, so now that we've kind of talked about a little bit of the other cards, every unit can be equipped with 1 item and 1 relic. So an item looks like this, it just says attachment, and it gains benefit. So the lantern we're looking at makes a unit a spirit, and then depending on its rank, the unit will also get other bonuses. And but what we mean by rank, that's basically its like power or like relative rarity. So I think if you've played any kind of trading card game, you're used to like rares and ultra rares and super mega duper rares. In this game, we have basics, which are going to be your kind of copper color symbol on that their echo cost, which you can have 3 copies of each basic card in your deck. Elite cards, which are going to be silver, like Umberland Lantern here is an elite card. You can have 2 of those in your deck, 2 copies. And then gold is going to be reserved for your unique cards. And there's going to be typically going to be a lot more powerful, either a unit or a spell. They're going to be more expensive.
I don't think I brought a unique in here, so sorry about that.
That's okay. They're
just gold.
They're just gold. Yep, they're gold. They're great, but they're expensive. So, you usually want to, you don't want to stack your deck with nothing but expensive, powerful cards because you're not going to get to play them all. And so, like, when we look at this card, go ahead.
They are good for bidding. Like, really expensive cards, I'll throw them in my deck just to throw them away on the bid so I win initiative.
Yeah, especially if you draw into 2 or 3 of them. If you have 2 or 3 cards that are all like 7 or 8, then you have a really good bid card for when you need to win initiative back. Because, throughout the course of a game, you're only going to get so much echo. So you're not going to be able to play all of these cards, which we'll get into as we move into round 2, kind of in our little demo example here. But yeah, so that's an attachment. The other thing about equipment is when the unit that is equipped with that dies, your opponent also gains the mastery for the equipment they destroy, not just the unit. So that can be double-edged pretty quickly, which I think is another reason we don't see a ton of equipment right now.
And just so that you can see what one of the gold cards looks like, we have Thrice Murdered up there now.
It's a good one.
Which is 8 points. So, it's worth a lot if somebody can take that out.
Yep. And Thrice Murder is a great card. We'll talk about a little bit about the factions and colors here in a minute. All I really wanted to kind of finish up with is on our overview of the gameplay. Is that starting with round 2, the first thing to do is you're going to be your refresh step, where you untap all your things, you refresh them. Both players will draw 2 cards, and you'll gain Echo. Now, every turn you're going to gain Echo equal to your round number times 2. So on round 2 you gain 4 Echo. Round 3 you gain 6 Echo. That caps out round 5. You gain 10 Echo, and then every round after that it maxes at 10 Echo. But typically games don't go much longer than 5 or 6. Most of the time they end at 4. I'd say most games end at turn 3 or 4.
Yeah, if you're in turn 5 and 6, like it's going like you're brawling in the middle of the table.
If both decks are more kind of like slow and methodical, it can happen. But yeah, a lot of times we see games ending in turns 3 and 4. But yeah, so round 2 moves on. You start with the bid again. So the player who does not have initiative gets to choose 1 card, and they may bid for initiative. The player with initiative can either choose to forego and forfeit the initiative token, or they can counter bid. But again, just like bidding, those cards are removed from the game. You don't get them back. And then starting with initiative player, they get to choose who deploys first. You do deployment just like you did in round 1, with the exception of reinforcing, which without having a physical model on the table, it's a lot harder to do this. But reinforcement allows you to deploy a unit nearby an unengaged ally that's already on the table. And so on turn 1, if you move your seeker forward and your opponent doesn't engage with you, or doesn't, they don't have the speed to get over to you on that side of the board, on turn 2 you can deploy units around your seeker, and they're already closer to the fight. They're ready to get in and brawl a little bit more. And so that's a big part of the game is controlling your deployment zone.
And this is also when you like bring units forward like that, like reinforce from deployment, it's a really good time to bring more items onto the board that you want to transfer from the new unit you brought onto an old unit, because you can pass around relics and items attachments at 1 inch if you're unengaged in the deploy phase, which is really it's a really fun thing to like pick up a relic that's not very good for this unit, and then like there's a thing called the Veil Piercer, and it's like the super powerful bow, and then you can deploy an archer later and then give that bow to that archer, and now he's a super archer basically.
Yeah, there's so many things. Right now there's I think around 180 cards in the game, which is it's still pretty small for a trading card game. But again, your deck's only 30 cards, and you're probably going to have multiple copies. So right now there's still plenty of cards to pick from.
Yeah,
but there's tons and tons of releases planned in the next year. So let me see. Units have. Let's just go through. Chris, do we have the unit card up?
I will bring it up. Yep.
I'll say Thrice Murder is still up. We can still look at that. So this is going to be something. If you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons before, some of this stuff is going to sound more familiar. Looking at the stats on the side of the card, just looking at a unit card, the sword swing, that top number is going to be your accuracy. That's the bonus you add to your D20 roll. The damage is right underneath it. That's your power. We'll cover that in just a second when we get to actual attacking. Range, like we said earlier, that's going to be measured in inches. 0 means melee. If it has a 0, though, that means if you equip it with an item or relic that gives it more range, it can make ranged attacks. So having a 0 can be pretty cool, because maybe you get a +6 range equipment that all of a sudden you have threat. And then movement, that's the number of inches you can move. That's going to be per move. So like we said earlier, you get 2 action points. So most units are able to double move. So some of them can especially get around really quickly. The little shield icon is your defense. So that's going to be the target number to hit when you're making an attack against your opponent. And then the final number, the little heart, is going to be your health. That's just hit points. When you go to 0, you're dead or defeated. And the card's discarded, resolve any kind of effects. If anything triggers undefeat. But damage and health, let's talk about that for a second. When you make an attack, you roll your d20, add the bonus. If that bonus equals the target's defense score, it's a hit. You're going to give the higher number of your damage number there as the damage. If you don't hit the defense number, it's called a graze. You still do damage, but you're going to do the lesser of those two numbers in your damage pile. And so I love this mechanic because so many games I feel like have a lot of like nothing happen when it's just like I roll and I miss, I roll and I miss, and people are just swinging and just whiffing. Especially if you've played Dungeons & Dragons. You just have this bad combats where everybody's missing and nobody's doing anything. Having the graze is great because you can kill anything eventually.
Yeah,
So
like all units are still lethal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how big you're buffing something's defense or how tanky you make something. Eventually, you can wear it down. The cool thing is, everybody loves to see them, natural 1s, natural 20s. So when you roll your d20 on a natural 1, called a critical graze, you deal 1 damage regardless. No bonus damage, you don't look at your graze damage, you deal 1 damage. If you roll a natural 20, you do a critical hit. You take your hit and graze damage and add them together. And that's the damage you deal on a crit.
And the game has like crazy keywords that add extra damage to critical hits too. Like you could be hitting somebody with 15 damage, just one shot and seekers with the 20. It's fun.
5% of the time.
100% of the time.
Yeah. So, but that's units. That's the stats. That's how they read. Combat the game is really simple. You move into engagement range. You make melee attacks. When you're already engaged and you activate, you have 2 action points. You get to make 2 attacks. If you're engaged with multiple enemies, you can choose how you attack. If you want to move away or do something that is maybe leaves you open for distraction, it's called provoking retaliation, where let's say you have a ranged unit that's trying to shoot at a distant unit, but they're currently engaged with something. They provoke retaliation. You can make a free attack on your enemy because they're leaving themselves vulnerable. And so a big part of the game can also be controlling kind of the flow and making sure your opponent can't do what they want to do with threatening melee pieces. I think we've kind of covered the basics of the game.
Yeah, the only other thing on these cards is the units all have like special abilities. Most units have something like regeneration.
I'll bring up
3.
Sigrith here.
Oh yeah, there we go. And she's got smite, and it'll tell you if these special abilities cost action points or if it's just like an accent to what they do. Like smiting takes 2 action points, so you're only doing that on her turn, and it allows you to hit for extra damage, and I think extra accuracy too, if I remember right.
Yep.
And then some units have like regeneration 3, so when they activate, they automatically heal 3 wounds, and that doesn't go against their action points because there's no action point cost to it.
Yeah, they have like passive abilities.
I think that's the word, passive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think the only thing we didn't really cover was the legacy. Which, do you want to bring that up, Chris? I'll just talk about that real quick. So now that we've kind of covered some basics of the game, we can talk about the legacy, where it makes a little more sense in context. Every legacy is paired with a seeker, and in fact, it'll tell you right there in the middle of the card. These are the big augmentation that you get when you pick your seeker. They change the rules for you and how you play the game. So, for example, we're looking at Laundriel here. Laundriel is one of our dual faction seekers, which we'll cover that in just a minute. But what she does here is whenever you play a spell that prevents, cancels, or redirects an effect, you get to look at the top card of your deck, and you can keep it there or put it at the bottom. And then, whenever you look at something from the top of your deck, you can reveal one of the cards. If it's a spell, you get to draw it. Otherwise, you put it back and gain echo. And so Landriel, which we'll get to her, is very like, she uses a lot of spell casting, but also a lot of cards that help prevent damage and like kind of counterplay with what your opponent's doing. And so this legacy really directs her deck construction and the way she plays. But your legacy and your seeker are going to be the first choice you make when you're building a deck. Right now we have 10 seekers to pick from. Each one has their own unique legacy. And I guess this is a good segue to start talking about the different factions. We got a little bit of time left.
Yeah.
Sorry, just brought Landriel up there.
Okay, yeah.
So that you can see how those two work together.
Yeah. So yeah, and Landriel, and you can see her icon in the top right corner has that split blue and white like symbol, or blue and yellow symbol. That's what we talk about when we say dual faction. So right now in Malediction, we have 4 major factions. In yellow, we have the Order of the Shattered Throne, which is where we see Sigrith. In this faction, we see a lot of knights, priests, your holy warriors, and the righteous faithful. Their spells have a lot of healing spells, a lot of prevent damage spells, and a lot of their units have to do with like supporting each other, and they're slower but tougher. Let's go ahead and talk about Conclave. So blue, this blue color for Landriel, is the Conclave of the Spheres. These are your spellcasters and your wizards. They are your university mages. They have access to a lot of magic manipulation, a lot of utility magic spell, and a lot of utility spells. Their units tend to be weaker but ranged, and they have a lot of synergy with playing spells. So we saw like the Conclave Scholar buffs the damage that if you play Twin Flames, which is our channel spell example, your Scholar can buff your Twin Flames to make it a stronger, more potent spell. That's where you get counter spells and things like that. Conclave are really cool, especially if you like playing that kind of slow control style game. Across from blue, we have our red faction. That is the Primal Blood. I don't think we have any Primal Blood examples.
I can get one. I can get one real fast. What's the Seeker?
Thunder Steps. Thunder Steps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Daddy Thunder.
Primal Blood are all about nature's wrath. They are, primal blood. They are barbarians. They are warriors, hunters, shamans. This is where you get your fast units, your mobile units. Everything here is about damage.
Beasts.
And it's all about keeping the pressure up. They have some of the fastest units in the game and some of the hardest hitting units in the game. But, they can be outflanked and they can be outmaneuvered. And, but yeah, they're a ton of fun to play, especially if you like the straightforward, all full send strategy. And then our last faction is the Legion of the Fallen. And that's where we see our Back for More. That was that spell card. That's where that
Who's the seeker for that?
Vorindal.
Thank you.
It's got that luscious hair.
Yeah. So this is the Legion of the Fallen. The Fallen are the risen undead. And so it encompasses everything, zombie, skeletons, just kind of whatever you can come up with. This is where we get our necromancy, a lot of kind of the darker, more controlling aspects. They're tons of fun to play. One of my favorite factions right now is Legion of the Fallen. But that's, these are the 4 factions.
I did not do well with them.
These take finesse. They've won
tricky.
Nick and I both over. Like, we're both in love with them. The whole idea of it. So fun, man. All this.
I really like the idea of the Countess. I just had trouble making it work, so I'm going with something a bit safer.
Mm-hmm. Thundersteps.
No, she's tricky. I had not Thundersteps. Morida is tricky. She's our blue and black.
Although every time side note: every time you say Thunder Steps, I'm reminded of Rocky 3 and Hulk Hogan's role, the Incredible Thunder Lips.
Yeah.
Sorry, just random thing that popped into my head that.
Yeah.
But let
Those
me
are the four
call up
factions
the
we have.
Countess there.
Yeah, we have yeah, so Countess Morida is blue and black. So like when you have these dual faction seekers, you're allowed to take cards from both of those factions, which allow you to really get crazy with the strategies and the combinations. Um, Morta is fun. I think she's hard to play. She's definitely on the harder scale um, of seekers, especially if you're getting into the game. Sigrith is a great starting point. She's our mono like yellow seeker. Uh, because her entire everything in her deck is built to support her, and she does all the work. And that's how you can just play her, get your seeker out, and then use all your cards to keep her safe, keep her alive, keep her healthy, and just let her kill everything on the table.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. Like, you're moving forward, engaging in melee, and then you have supporting crossbowmen. It's just like move forward, get within 1 inch, smite,
Yeah,
and then just keep pushing the enemy across the board.
yeah.
Not a lot of spells.
Thundersteps is similar in the sense that his legacy really aims to like supplement what he does, which is charge and kill things.
Oh yeah, did we talk about special like you could charge and shift instead of just move
We
and
didn't talk about that
attack?
now. Yeah. So
I
in
think
addition to
we're running lower on time there, so probably not enough time to
yeah,
get into some of the finer points there. But
yeah, definitely. If this sounds like it's down your alley, um, try to look online. The big thing about this game is the community is huge. The Discord is super active. The website, they have a deck builder, like officially supported deck builder online that you can just make an account with an email and build your own decks. You don't have to buy anything. Um, the TTS tabletop simulator mod is officially licensed and supported, and it's free download. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I paid for it. Pretty sure it's free.
Yeah, it's free.
So like even if you don't want to spend money on the game yet, and you already have tabletop simulator, download the Malediction app and go to the Discord and just say, hey, can somebody teach me how to play this game? You will find somebody in the community. One thing this game does really well is they have a kind of a call to action called volunteers called heralds, where we actually apply and volunteer our time to run official events and kind of be active members of the community. And there's tons of them. They're everywhere. So find somebody online who will teach you through TTS, or maybe you are nearby and somebody will be running a demo event where you can just show up and play.
well, and
The
speaking of
game,
playing, I think this is what we are going to be playing on Thursday. Just
Oh,
to
yeah,
nice.
let you guys know, we'll be bringing that out to Chaotic Good and setting up to stream a game of Malediction there. Um, I as much as I would like to play the Sigrith deck that I put together, I think for this I'm going to want to actually sit back and take control of the stream on that to make sure we can make it look as nice as possible and keep it flowing. So, are you
sure.
guys up to play each other?
Yeah, or Joel.
I'll be down. I
Joel likes
think yeah,
playing.
Joel's up. If Joel's up for a game, and
All right. Well,
yeah,
I am having some problems with my Bluetooth still. I think I think something about the signal coming from my new computer is not strong enough for a consistent signal. So with that, I am going to go ahead and say goodnight to you guys.
Okay, it's been fun. Thank you.
thanks for the hour-long Malediction pitch.
not not a
I'm playing
problem at
Lexington.
all. All right. You guys have a good night.
You
You
too,
too.
bye.
All right, so thank you for joining the show tonight. I hope you enjoyed the look at Malediction. don't worry, we're not done with Leviathans. We do have a strong group that is continuing to play Leviathans. We're kind of running out of news on that right now until they get the full release. So we're looking at some other things to mix in there. We play a lot of different games, and we want to kind of get you guys exposed to some of the things that we've been playing. So this week we're going to play some Malediction. I hope you guys will join us on Thursday. And outside of that, I hope you have a great night.